Welcome, Maine powerlifting enthusiasts, to your repository of all things powerlifting in Maine. It is Inside USA Powerlifting Maine. I am Mark Hunter, and welcome to the inaugural broadcast of the show. Tonight, today, this morning, whenever you're looking at this, we're going to go over what's coming up and have a special interview with the new USA Powerlifting chairperson for the state of Maine, Andrew Graves. Let's get right into it before I mess anything up here. We're going to go and talk about the coming events, starting up right around the corner here, November 6th, up in Waterville, Maine, the inaugural Carrie Boudreau Big Pullooza being put on by Shelby Downing, and that should be a great meet. We're going to live stream that, so stay tuned or show up in person. Audience participation is a great thing. Coming up after that, just right after the new year, first weekend, we've got on January 8th in Saco, Maine at the Schofield Sports Performance Center, the main event Winter Open. And if any of you went to the state meet and checked out the facility, it's a great place to have a contest, and I think it's going to be very enjoyable. You'll find out later in the interview, Andrew really wants to up the game for powerlifting meets here in the state. So without further ado, here is Andrew. Andrew, I want to take a moment to thank you for taking time out to do this interview. I guess it's kind of an introduction to, USAPL Maine, of their new chairperson. You won the election, what was June, and what's been happening? How's it going?
I'm good. I appreciate you for setting this up, for having me on and allowing me a little bit of a platform. The election was held just after the state championships in July. I was elected then, and since then, been putting in a little bit of work behind the scenes. I actually just took a trip out to Buffalo, New York, to pick up a combo rack that we'll be using at the USAPL main event Winter Open on January 8th. So we got that sanction approved. That'll be our first competition in 2022. That's January 8th, Saco, Maine, at Schofield Sports Performance, the same venue that hosted state championships this past year. We also have the Carrie Boudreau Memorial competition coming up November 6th. That is at Champions Fitness Center, I believe, is the name of the gym.
That's correct.
Yep. That's coming up November 6th. Those two meets are what we have on our radar right now. Just sort of learning the ropes at this point, trying to do what I can at this point. Looking forward, probably setting up the state championships in the middle of March of 2022. And there's a few places we're looking at doing that right now. I've got to take some site visits to see if these facilities can host what we're planning for. So that's sort of what's been going on these past few months. Just putting a few things together. Looking to upgrade some of the technology, some of the live stream services we had. I know the live stream wasn't great at the state championships. I definitely learned from that. I got a lot of feedback from the state championships, and there's a lot of things we're working for these upcoming competitions.
As far as the technology in that, is that, people rent that, or is it something that USAPL Maine owns? I mean, it's technically a 503C, correct?
Correct. Yeah. That's definitely something you could rent. It's really up to the meet director as far as how they want to set up their own live stream. All of my equipment that I have, which albeit isn't much at this point, that's open for anybody to use at any time. I don't have much at this point. I have a GoPro, I have my capture card, I have a number of laptops, and that's about it. I suppose you could rent equipment. I hadn't looked into that. I was sort of going the route of buying all my own equipment just so I can own it. Don't have to worry about, over and over paying those fees that'll add up over the years.
Right.
So
I mean, what does it take, minimally just to run a meet? Now you're using, software. Back in my day, we used 3x5 cards. Oh, they were printed and stuff, but then you had a clipboard, they called it. But you guys used was web-based software, right? When you did the 20 back in Schofield.
Yeah, we used it's a software called OBS, and that's free to anybody to use. It can be a bit daunting at first when you first install it. It's not, you don't get a guide of how to set everything up, and it's difficult when you have a vision in your mind about how you want your stream to look, and articulating those things in the Google searches or talking to other people. Not always the easiest thing. There's not really one guide for how to set up a live stream for a powerlifting competition. The software we use is OBS. Another popular software is Streamlabs that I know a lot of people use. And basically what that is, it's a streaming software where you can set up different scenes, they call them. Basically you have your camera that you set up that has to run through a capture card, unless you have a USB webcam. But if you wanted to use a high definition camera, it's probably best to get either a Elgato capture card or a simple one off of Amazon. So basically you have a video feed input. You can have different like graphics that you can add on, different sound effects if that's what you want to go for. We're looking to incorporate replays moving forward of lifts. That's something that I've seen a little bit of, not a lot, but that is something that I'm very interested in doing, is having a replay after every single attempt. But yeah, as far as setting up the live stream, all you really need is a camera and some kind of software to either broadcast to Twitch, YouTube, whatever streaming service you desire.
Right. Now, how did you get into powerlifting to the point where now you're state chairperson? What happened?
It happened pretty fast, I'll be honest with you. I've only been competing since 2018 was my first competition. I sort of got into powerlifting. I feel like a lot of other people can relate with. I was in the gym lifting, building strength for other sports. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. I played football, played basketball, and I ran track. Then moving on to college, I played rugby for all 4 years. So a lot of those sports, you want to have, a solid base of strength. So I was in the gym, a few times a week, and I was sort of hitting powerlifting movements without really knowing about the sport of powerlifting. So I was squatting, I was bench pressing. I didn't start deadlifting until a little bit later when I got into college. But yeah, I was lifting all throughout high school. I think I got my first weight set when I was like 12 or 13 years old, just, doing curls and stuff in my garage. But
Right.
As far as powerlifting movements go, I started in high school, and then as I moved into college, a lot of my friends, actually, people I met at school, they were competitive powerlifters. And
Now, where did you go to school?
I went to school in Boston, Massachusetts, at Wentworth Institute of Technology. I have a degree in construction management, and that's what I do for a living. I'm working on the Green Line extension down here in Boston. currently. But yeah, I met a good group of guys, very strong guys that I would hit the gym with, and they sort of taught me about powerlifting, how to get stronger. I started, going on YouTube, seeing, a lot of the guys that were on YouTube around 2014, 2015. One of my roommates, actually, he competed at Raw Nationals in 2016, USAPL Raw Nationals. And that was like the first competition I ever really watched. And I was like, I was mind blown at that. It just seemed really cool to me, having a lot of people around this big, arena filled with people cheering for you, just, it hit some big weight. And so after that, I continued lifting throughout college, and I didn't really consider competing until 2017, 2018. With rugby, I was, really beat up, but finally in the summer of 2018, I was able to compete in New York at the Liberty Games. I believe that was July 2018. And then I've done 6 competitions now. I directed the Maine State Championships this past year. That was something I was talking with our previous state chair, Michael Coulter, about. We started discussion about directing a competition. I think I first reached out to him in December of 2020. That's when the ball really started rolling for the state championships, which didn't end up happening until 7 months later. So that sort of gives you a time frame for,
things got a little complicated.
Yeah. Things take a long time. It was my first, meet directing, and there's a lot to learn. I wanted to become a certified referee, so I had to both take an online course and the in-person test. You also have to pass safe sport. You have to become safe sports certified to become a state referee. So that was another process that I had to go through. But these are simple things, it just takes a little bit of digging, a little bit of time, and anybody can become a referee as long as you're in good standing with USA Powerlifting. I believe there's a few requirements. I believe you have to be 18 years old and in USA Powerlifting for a year in some capacity, I believe, are the requirements to become a state referee. And I encourage everybody to become a referee at some level. It helps you understand the rules a lot better, helps you understand why referees will call certain things certain ways. And, it will really evolve you as a lifter and as a competitor and an athlete if, you become a referee and you really have that grasp of the rule book. But getting back to becoming state chair, I got the email last year saying that Michael Coulter's 3-year tenure was about to expire. And I think that came out about in May is when they reached out to us. And at that point, I had already put in a lot of work and effort for the state championships. And I was thinking, well, this is something that I enjoy, and I really enjoy powerlifting and giving back to the sport and making things better for everybody in the state. And so I figured may as well give it a try. And here we are.
What has been the most surprising thing about being state chair?
Most surprising thing up until this point, it's only been a few months. The process of becoming state chair has taught me more so far, at least, than being state chair. One thing that I did learn is that records in the lifting database have to be manually approved by the state chair every time a state record is set. So every time there's a competition or every time somebody from Maine competes, I have to go in and check the results and verify that the new state record has been set. So that's something that surprised me. Another thing that surprised me is the number of referees that we have in Maine. We only have 7 active referees in the state of Maine, which is a low number. And again, I'm going to say I encourage everybody to become a referee. It's one of the best things you can do for yourself and for the sport. The low number of referees was surprising to me. And yeah, I mean, that's been about it so far. I mean, we're only a few months into it, and I'm excited for the Carrie Boudreau Memorial competition coming up. I'll be there November 6th. I think that's going to be a great competition. I think Shelby's done a great job, not only putting that competition together, but with the gym she just opened up in Farmington, Stand Strong. I think that's going to be a really good competition, and I look forward to that.
Yeah, she's got a few meets under her belt.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, she's seasoned, and that's something that I value, dearly. Having someone like that in the state, and someone I can reach out to if I ever have any questions, and vice versa. That's great. We have people like that.
Yeah. There's a lot of, I would say, either untapped or, just there's some resources for powerlifting in Maine that people just they don't know about. I mean, has anybody put together, just maybe powerlifting friendly directory of, facilities to train at? Schofield, I mean, this isn't the first meet that they've ever had there. They've had other meets there. It's a great facility to put on a contest. Champions, I think Mike might have done a couple meets there as well.
Yeah, the state championships in 2020 were at Champions. Yep. As far as a directory of powerlifting friendly venues and gyms, that's not something we currently have, but I think that could be a very valuable tool, and something we can put together. Definitely. I mean, the resources are out there. Off the top of my head, I know there is Schofield Sports in Saco, who hosted the state championships. They've hosted competitions in the past, as you mentioned. I know there's Stand Strong in Farmington now, which I'm not sure. I haven't been up there. I would love to get up there at some point. I don't know what it's sort of, the layout in there looks like, but that's definitely a great gym to train at. There's Jacked and Jill in South Portland. They just actually received the shipment of calibrated rogue plates, which I think is great. They've got a lot of strong lifters there. There is CrossFit Casco Bay, I believe. There's been some USA powerlifting competitions there previously. That's in Portland. LA Strength Club up in Lewiston, I believe, has a set of Alico calibrated plates. Where else? There's Brickhouse Strength, I believe is the name of it, in Sanford. They just got a few combo racks, a few sets of calibrated plates, and these gyms just seem to keep popping up.
That's a good thing,
Yeah, absolutely. It's huge. One of the harder things about putting together the state championships last year was finding a venue that met what we wanted to do. But after doing a little bit of research, it seemed like we had a few options. And so we ended up at Schofield Sports Performance. We knew they had competitions previously. They had a good layout. They had squat racks there. They had pound plates for us. We supplied a few sets of calibrated plates for the warm-up room. We supplied combo rack for the warm-up room, a few deadlift jacks, and that's sort of, all we brought. And it worked out really well, I believe. But yeah,
I noticed that the lifters were very conscientious about, the talcum powder. There was a specific area before deadlifts where they'd put it on and not get it, into that turf on the way out to the platform. So
yeah, and that is huge. That's not something that, if you're looking to direct a competition, that's one thing you have to consider that, maybe goes by the wayside, is having a designated area for baby powder is huge. It makes cleanup a lot easier. Baby powder can be very difficult to clean up in certain circumstances. So yeah, it's great that the lifters, we're putting that on in the designated area. I thought all the lifters did a great job that day. Yeah, that was a really fun day for sure.
Yeah, it went pretty good. What was the total number of lifters you had?
I believe we ended up 53 lifters signed up, and at that competition, I believe we ended up with 36 competitors. So there was quite a few dropouts, quite a few people who couldn't show up for one reason or another. 53 sign up, 36, I believe, was the number that ended up competing that day.
Sure. What's the total number of USAPL lifters in the state?
In the state, we have, as of the September report, we have 81 lifters. And that is, I was comparing it to some other states. I believe that puts us at 35th in the country as far as states are concerned, which isn't a bad place to be considering Maine has one of the lower populations. I think 35th is not bad considering our population, but that's one of the main goals is to drive up those numbers, get them into the triple digits pretty soon here. And just, building a lot of strong lifters, a lot of, anybody can compete, anybody who's, been drug-free and anybody who wants to sign up. I highly recommend it. There's never a bad time to compete.
So what do you see as the fastest way to get the numbers up?
Fastest way, I believe, is one, through word of mouth. A lot of the lifters that are currently enrolled in USA Powerlifting Maine, they have a lot of friends who also lift with them, but might not compete for one reason or another. So I think spreading the word, I think putting on quality competitions first and foremost is the best way to bring up our numbers. If you have quality competitions, you have quality judging, quality spotting and loading, meets are run smooth. Lifters just show up and lift. They don't have to worry about anything else. I think that will drive people to become repeat competitors. And the more people enjoy their experience at our competitions, the more they're going to want to spread the word, and the more they're going to encourage their friends to, go out and lift some big weight and have a great day, become a registered athlete. And so I think word of mouth, talking to your friends is huge. And another thing, obviously social media, just putting a lot of, information out there, a lot of content out there. That's something I think, we just started the YouTube channel. We can start uploading, different videos, different series, we can come up with ideas to push things that way. But yeah, advertising on social media, our competitions, or any kind of seminars we can come up with, things like that. I think those will be the keys to driving up membership rate.
I noticed what percentage of, the membership is like Southern Maine as opposed to Northern, for instance, Bangor, Orono area, or even the county.
Yeah. I don't have any information regarding that. I have the total number, but it's tough to tell. It is tough to tell. We had Shelby. She brought a lot of her lifters down, and they're sort of central Maine. They're based in Farmington. So,
Right.
But we also have, a lot of lifters in Southern Maine. I don't know. It's tough to tell. That's a good question. I'd like to find a way to get some concrete evidence on where our demographic is, where all of our user base is. I might be able to figure that out, actually. I think I could figure that out.
Sure. Yeah, because I know, Michael Calter, he's in Winslow or Waterville.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, which used to be a bastion of powerlifting
Yeah.
back when I was coming up. Yep.
Right.
But
Yeah. No. And Maine, from everything that I've heard, everything that I've read, was a very competitive state when it came to powerlifting. We had a lot of very strong people in the 80s, 90s, that era before, social media and before, everything was, put on YouTube and all that. And I think with the resurgence of USA powerlifting and raw powerlifting, I think we're getting a new crop of lifters now that can really, yeah, we're working on getting back to form. I believe we had 4 or 5 competitors last year compete at the national level, which is awesome. It's great. Having representation at the national level is incredible, and I think those numbers will be even higher coming up in 2022. And I'm excited to see that.
now, was that open nationals? Was that collegiates?
So that was across all levels of nationals, I believe. Let's see. I think I can run through everyone. We had Eric Hogan, who competed at collegiate nationals. We had Miranda Derenberger competed at Masters Nationals along with Jerry Peterson. Michael Coulter also unfortunately had to pull out of Masters Nationals due to an injury. And then we had Jonathan Lavoie, who competed at Open Nationals. So I believe that's everybody. Yeah, it's kind of cool having a collegiate, open, and Masters representation. I think that's pretty neat. But yeah, moving forward, I think those numbers are going to go up, and it'll be really cool to see that.
Yeah, the teenage lifters were really huge back in the like the early mid 80s, 90s. We had a ton of people that were nationally ranked in the, and that's literally you're getting a great feeder system from athletes coming in, whether it's football, for instance. Shelby's son is a football player, and geez, you squat 500 pounds, next thing you know, it's hard to stop him.
Yeah, for sure. Breaking an open state record as a teen is, you don't see that every day. So that was really cool to see. He is definitely a very, very strong individual. And, hopefully we get more people like that. We get, across all ages, but, you get younger lifters coming in, and I hope that they stay for a number of years. And the longer that they stay competing, the more they can, spread the word, the more that, they can add to their total, and the better athlete they become. So, you put in what you get out, and, that goes for lifting, and that goes, for any facet in life, really. Being a meet director, being the state chair, if I'm not going to put effort in, then, the state isn't going to do well. And, I intend to put, all of my effort into every capacity that I can. So, yeah, for sure. Having representation like that is very, very interesting.
Yeah. Now, getting back to, having venues and, competitions for all the new athletes that we're going to get in. What do you see as like the optimal number of meets in the state, like on a, say like within the next 12 to 24 months?
Sure. Yeah, I think looking at states around us, Massachusetts being the exception, I think they've had close to 20 competitions this year. Looking at New Hampshire, I know Connecticut has. I know Ryan Gleason puts on a competition, I think, every 4 weeks at his facility down in Connecticut. Where we're at now, I think a good number to aim for is 4 to 5 competitions per calendar year. So in a 12-month span, having 4 to 5 competitions, I think, would be a good number for us to reach for. I think we have we have this one coming up in January that myself and Eric Hogan are co-directing. And then we're putting the steps together for the state championships, which will be in March. And then, after that, there's another 8.5, 9 months of space we can fill. And
Right.
so I think having maybe another few local competitions, and maybe one thing when in 2019, I went to Northeast Regionals, and that was the last year that we've had regionals. And that was a great experience for me because it was similar to a national level feel, but in the Northeast, and a lot of local lifters, for whatever reason, may not get the chance to compete at national. And so having a regional meet like that, I think, was incredible. And so something that I've been thinking about is talking with state chairs around New England and having sort of like a New England series or New England Open, things like that, where we have different competitions and we can involve, all of our own lifters from every state and offer, put our brains together and come up with these cool competitions, since regionals hasn't been a thing for a few years now. So that's something that I want to get started with. But yeah, having a few local meets every few weeks or so, I think is great for us in all areas of the state, Southern Maine, Central Maine, even Northern Maine. Yeah, I think 5 would be a good number for us.
And speaking of optimal numbers, you said what, as far as like active referees, what do you think could be the optimal? What's the goal in that respect? If you could wave a magic wand.
If I could wave a magic wand, I'd have 15 national level referees right down the street from me. But I'll be a little bit more realistic. I think at this time next year, what I would like to see is 18 state level referees. I'd like to double what we have currently, and I'd like to add a little bit more onto that. And like I said, all you have to do to become a state referee is reach out to me. You can find my email and my phone number on USA Powerlifting's website under the state chair. Reach out to me. I'll give you the link to the test, the online test, open book. And then you have to take an in-person test at a USA Powerlifting competition. So I think 18 is a good number for us to look for at this time next year.
Now, the in-person test it's like what, you're sitting beside an actual ref, or how does that work?
So the in-person test is you'll go to a USA Powerlifting sanctioned competition. You'll have to reach out to the meet director, or you can reach out to me and I can help you get things figured out. Ask them if it's okay for you to take your test, and they have a paper that they print out for you. The meet director will give you the sheet, and you sit next to one of the referees at the competition. And as the competition is going on, you mark down 30 squats, 30 bench presses, and 40 deadlifts, I believe, are the numbers. And you either write if you agree with the referee's call or you disagree with the referee's call. And if you disagree on, I think you have to get a 90% to pass the written test. So yeah, it's basically just if your call is the same as the referee's that you're sitting with, then that counts as a good point for you. And that's really all it is. You have to judge 100 lifts in a USA Powerlifting competition.
So that's before the lights go on. You've got to mark your paper. Yep. Okay. Sounds slightly stressful, but hey, that's being a ref.
Yeah, no. I mean, you prior to taking the in-person test, the written test is pretty thorough. It's 100 questions. I believe it's 100 questions. I believe you have to get an 80. No, I'm sorry. I believe you have to get an 80 on that to pass the written test. That is a pretty thorough exam. And even with it being open book, you will learn a lot just taking the test. And so when you get to that point, when you're sitting next to that referee taking the in-person exam, it's not so bad.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, I really appreciate you taking the time. Is there anything else, anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to talk about? I know we've got, again, the Carrie Boudreau big Pullooza coming up in
Yep.
Waterville on the 6th of November.
Yep.
Your meet is the main event, and that's going to be again right down in Saco on the January
8th, January 8th. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, check out the calendar on USA Powerlifting's website. Sign up for competition. I don't know if registration for the Carrie Boudreau competition is still open. If it is, go check it out. Sign up for the main event, Winter Open, January 8th, like you said. That link is also on the USAPL calendar. Follow USAPL Maine on Instagram. Stay tuned. We got a lot of big things brewing. We're in contact with a lot of different potential sponsorship partners for the main event in January. We're looking to give out more cash prizes. I think it's going to be a really great competition. We're going to take everything that we learned from the state championship last year and improve upon it. It's going to be a really fun day, and I hope to see everybody there.
That reminds me, does that mean that that the lifter will get to select music for all their attempts, or just the third attempts? That
I think
that was kind of an unusual pitch.
What did you think about that? Were you a fan of that?
I thought it was a hoot.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think that's a little bit extra something that we can offer that really makes the experience enjoyable for the lifter. Obviously you can't wear your own headphones on the platform, so having your walk-up song or your hype song to really give you that extra little oomph. I don't think we'll do every attempt. I think third attempts is a good compromise. But yeah, that is definitely something we'll be offering at all of our competitions.
Yeah, I mean, it did give it kind of a WWE, just vibe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was expecting to see smoke and some.
Hey, stay tuned.
Yeah,
we might be incorporating some of that, so we'll see.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. I think we are good to go. How do I stop this recording?